Hello and welcome to Sarcastic Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the Sandy Wexler movie starring Adam Sandler, which was a Netflix original just released today. And for those who don't know, it's about an agent who thinks he's a super agent in the 90s named Sandy Wexler. There's a lot of cameos in here. Kevin Nealon, Conan, John Lovitz, Henry Winkler, Arsenio Hall has a big role. Jay Leno, Chris Rock, David Spade, Pauly Shore, Quincy Jones, Weird Al. Most of those are just cameos, except for Arsenio Hall. He has more of a role in it. He's actually pretty funny. He's kind of almost like a nemesis to Sandy Wexler, who's always calling him on his BS, things like that. So it starts out like when you're introduced to Sandy Wexler, it's through this a bunch of celebrities sitting around talking about him, basically, which is it's kind of shown in the trailer. But you see that Sandy Wexler has another annoying voice, which Adam Sandler for some reason thinks is funny, but isn't. He has really an annoying personality. He lies to people all the time. He eats gross. They show that a few times. And for some reason he has like this inappropriate laughter where he's like a fake laugh that he keeps bringing out at the wrong times, and it's so loud and obnoxious that you can't ignore it. It's a weird thing to see. But some of his clients like him because he works hard for them. And that's basically, as far as the movie goes, that's the only thing that character has going for him, is that he works hard for his clients. And he's always talking about how he's on Atkins, which is something that they just keep mentioning throughout the entire movie. Every once in a while that he's on Atkins, he's only eating meat and avoiding the carbs and things like that, and it's not funny every single time they mention it. So Sandy Wexler has some clients. He's got Kevin James is a ventriloquist. Colin Quinn is a comic with some very unfunny jokes. They're just bland, not really bad, just bland. And Nick Swartzen is kind of like an Evel Knievel trapeze artist who does all these stunts and Sandy Wexler keeps talking him into doing them. That's really, as far as I'm concerned, the only funny parts in the movie are some of the physical humor that comes from those stunts. Well, there were a couple other points, and I'll get to those. And there's Jane Seymour. She's a neighbor to the millionaire whose house Sandy Wexler is staying at. He's got some kind of arrangement where he lives in the guy's guest house because he's away and needs somebody to live at his house for insurance reasons. And there's a funny part to it where for some reason the guard dogs that are on the premises are always attacking him, but not anybody else. They're always friendly to everybody else, so that part's funny. And the Jane Seymour as the neighbor is like she's trying to seduce Sandy Wexler because her husband's in a coma. So I mean, it's played for laughs, but not any of that is funny, except it's interesting to see Jane Seymour play that kind of character now. Kind of the one she did in Wedding Crashers, very similar to that. And the movie is, as far as I'm concerned, it's way too long for something that's supposed to be a comedy. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like, that's not a comedy running time. Like, that's too long. And there are so many things that could be cut from this. There's a whole thing with Terry Crews as a wrestler that there's a couple of laughs, but that's because Terry Crews is funny, not because anything else in the movie is funny. But that could have completely been cut, and it would have been fine. The same with Jane Seymour as the neighbor trying to seduce him. That whole thing could have been cut. and it would have made a more reasonable running time. But the gist of the story is Sandy Wexler finds Jennifer Hudson, and she's a kid singer. He hears her sing, and you see him watching her sing for the first time, and her lips don't even, like, her lip syncing doesn't even match what's being sung. Like, I don't mean she's singing completely different words, it's just the lip syncing is off a little bit, and it makes the whole thing look so fake. It even sounds different, like it's just a different, probably because it was shot outside, but still, like, I've seen way better singing outside scenes that where you couldn't obviously tell from watching that it was fake, but with this you can. It's just blatantly obvious. And so he hires her, and then from there on, the story is so paint by numbers. Like, it's the kind of thing you've seen a million times before. Sandy Wexler gets her first gigs. She becomes famous. He has kind of a crush on her, which is kind of weird because it looks like she has the same thing for him, but then she goes off and has all these relationships with other guys. It's just pretty weird that that she would claim to like him when she doesn't show it at all, except for a little bit at the beginning and at the end, of course. So I don't really see the relationship there. And if they would have carried on from the beginning, it would have been fine, and started a relationship, then broke up, then started it again later. But the fact that she looks like she likes him, but then goes off with all these other guys, it just doesn't make sense. It makes the whole thing awkward and weird. And then while he's in love with her, his relationship with her keeps affecting, like, what's going on with his other clients. So he forgets things that are going on. He forgets meetings. He even forgets in the middle of conversations what he was just talking about, just because he likes this girl. It's kind of odd. And you don't really know anything about any of these characters. There's no backstory to any of them other than Sandy Wexler is a hardworking guy. Other than that, there's nothing. There's a little, there's a little bit with Weird Al, where Weird Al shows up as a former client that, according to Sandy Wexler, he got to be too close with, and then it wrecked the business relationship. But that's just a 2-sentence backstory that doesn't really get developed in any way, so it doesn't really count as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, there you have it. There is another funny bit at the end where Sandy Wexler thinks that Beavis and Butthead are real people, and he wants to sign them. So Mike Judge keeps calling him in the middle of the night as Beavis and Butthead to just troll him, basically. So, but that's played like at the end credits, so it's not something that's in the movie or that's very funny. And by the time you get to the end credits, it's really dragging along. So that's it. That was my opinion about Sandy Wexler, a review of the Adam Sandler movie on Netflix right now. It's not recommended. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It's not anything new. And yeah, if you want to watch it, you can, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, or all of the above. Thank you, and have a nice day.